The date is March 10, 2026, and for thousands of American families, the alarm clock didn't just signal the start of another workday, it signaled the end of a multi-year illusion. If you've spent the last 3 years walking across what you were told was a bridge to home ownership, you might want to look down, because the fog of marketing has finally lifted, and many of you are standing on the edge of a sheer financial drop. This isn't just a story about a bad contract or a misunderstood clause. This is a cold dissection of a financial blueprint designed to strip the working class of their last remaining hope. We are moving past the glossy brochures and the social impact mission statements to reveal a trajectory that was set in motion years ago, a roadmap that led directly to this moment of systemic failure. The dream of owning the ground you stand on has always been the primary engine of the American middle class, but as we navigate the volatile interest rates and the suffocating property prices of 2026, that dream has been weaponized. Enter the rent-to-own savior. For years, companies like Divvy Homes, fueled by hundreds of millions of dollars from Silicon Valley venture capitalists and Wall Street hedge funds, pitched a narrative of radical inclusion. They didn't see themselves as landlords, they marketed themselves as the gatekeepers of the future. Their mission was supposedly noble, to provide a path for those rejected by the traditional banking system. If the big banks said no because of your credit score or your lack of a massive down payment, these corporations said yes. They told you to pick any house on the market and they would buy it for you. You would move in, pay rent, and in 3 years, the house would be yours. It was presented as a revolutionary bridge across the affordability gap, but as we are seeing today, that bridge was never anchored to the other side. To understand the structural deception at play, we have to look back at the evidence that was hiding in plain sight. Long before the 2026 collapse, investigative journalists at ProPublica conducted an exhaustive 8,000-word dissection of this business model. They didn't find a charity, they found a high-frequency eviction machine. While the public-facing narrative was about empowerment, the internal mechanics were engineered to extract wealth from the very people the company claimed to be helping. This wasn't a flaw in the system, it was the system's primary feature. The investigation revealed that these rent-to-own giants weren't looking for long-term homeowners, they were looking for short-term capital. They targeted families who were subprime, those with enough income to pay a premium, but not enough traditional stability to fight back when the trap snapped shut. The architecture of this trap is elegant in its simplicity. When you enter a deal with a company like Divvy, the first step is the contribution. You are required to pay an upfront fee, usually between 1% and 2% of the home's purchase price. In the world of 2026, where an entry-level home in a decent school district starts at $500,000, that's $10,000 of your hard-earned savings gone before you even unpack a box. But that's just the entry fee. The real extraction happens monthly. Your rent isn't determined by the local market, it is set significantly higher. Why? Because the company tells you that the extra money is being funneled into equity credits, a forced savings account that will serve as your down payment when you finally buy the home. It feels like progress. It feels like you are finally building a stake in your future. But the unvarnished facts show that this savings account is a phantom. The hard numbers revealed by researchers show a pattern that is nothing short of predatory. In the traditional banking world, your savings are yours. If you decide not to buy a car or a house, you still have your money. In the rent-to-own blueprint, those equity credits are conditional. If you lose your job and miss a payment, if you decide the house has too many problems to buy, or if you simply cannot secure a mortgage at the end of the 3-year term, which is exactly what is happening to thousands of people right now in 2026, the company often keeps nearly everything. ProPublica's data showed that in many instances, the corporation retains the majority, if not the total sum of those accumulated credits. They call it a surrender fee or a liquidated damages clause. You call it the theft of your life's work. Think about the psychological leverage this creates. For 3 years, you live in a house that you think is yours. You paint the walls, you fix the leaky faucet, and you plant a garden. But legally, you are a tenant with zero protections of an owner. You are an unpaid property manager for a multi-billion-dollar fund. In fact, many of these contracts shift the entire burden of maintenance onto the tenant. You are paying for the new roof and the HVAC repair on a house that you do not own, using money that you should be saving for your actual future. You are literally using your labor and your cash to appreciate an asset for a billionaire while they wait for the clock to run out. The revelation for 2026 is that this was always a game of churn. A landlord makes money when a tenant stays. An RTO corporation makes a fortune when a tenant fails. If you successfully buy the house, they make a modest profit on the sale. But if you fail, if you get evicted, or if the contract expires without a purchase, which is exactly what is happening to thousands of people right now in 2026, the company keeps your initial 2%, they keep your 3 years of inflated equity payments, and they keep the value of every repair you made. Then they put the house back on the market at a 2026 price and start the cycle over with the next hopeful family. Your failure is their business model. It is a high-yield extraction of the last remaining liquidity in the lower middle class. As we stand here today, looking at the wreckage of these expired contracts, the bridge metaphor has finally collapsed. The year 2026 will be remembered as the moment the fog cleared and the abyss became visible. We are seeing families who did everything right. They worked the extra shifts, they paid the inflated rent, they skipped the vacations, only to be told that because the market shifted or because their credit score didn't climb fast enough, they are being evicted with nothing to show for it. Their savings have been liquidated into a corporate dividend. The bridge didn't lead to a home, it led to a cliff. This is the ultimate betrayal of the concept of access. By selling a path to home ownership that is designed to fail for the majority of participants, these entities have done more than just take people's money. They have destroyed the very idea of financial hope. They took a generation of people who were desperate to participate in the economy and turned them into a harvestable resource. They commercialized the struggle for shelter and sold it back to the victims in 1% increments. The cold reality is that in a world of institutionalized real estate, the generous offer is often the most dangerous one. When a company backed by the giants of Wall Street tells you they want to help you buy a house without a bank, you have to ask yourself, why are they bypassing the traditional system? It's not to save you money, it's because the traditional system has laws that protect you, and they have found a way to operate in the gray area where those laws don't apply. They have created a shadow mortgage market where the risks are all yours and the rewards are all theirs. You have to dismantle the idea that these corporations are partners in your journey. They are predators in a landscape of scarcity. They thrive on the fact that you have no other options. They rely on your belief in a dream that they have already dismantled behind the scenes. As we move further into 2026, the smoking gun is no longer hidden. It is in the thousands of eviction notices being served to families who thought they were almost home. It is in the balance sheets of these corporations that show record profits from forfeited credits. The question now is how many more will walk into the trap before we recognize the pattern? How many more life savings will be liquidated before we admit that the rent-to-own model is a mechanism for dispossession? The dream of home ownership shouldn't be a gamble where the house always wins. It shouldn't be a 3-year race against a clock that has been rigged to run fast. But until we strip away the veneer of social mission, that is exactly what it will remain. This is the reckoning, the moment where the narrative of democratized housing meets the hard numbers of corporate greed. The year 2026 is the end of the line for the great RTO experiment, and the results are devastating. If you are standing on that bridge right now, it is time to look at the contract again. It is time to look at the numbers again, because the abyss doesn't care about your dreams, it only cares about your equity. Have you been approached with one of these bridge-to-ownership deals? Have you felt the pressure of an inflated rent payment that promised a future that never arrived? The only way to stop the eviction machine is to bring the mechanics of the trap into the light. Share your experience in the comments. Your story isn't just a personal struggle, it is a vital piece of the evidence we need to understand who is really benefiting from this system. We are here to dissect the roadmap and reveal where the path actually ends. Don't let your dream be the next harvest for a corporate landlord. Stay vigilant, stay analytical, and never stop looking for the truth behind the promise.